Hi, my name is Craig Bailey, and I am an assistant professor in Yale's Child Study Center, director of early childhood at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, and co-developer of Ruler, a pre-K through 12 approach to social and emotional learning. At the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, we believe that emotions are at the heart of children's learning. Our research and our time in the classroom has also found that so much of children's learning is made possible by their social and emotional learning. That teachers are critical in creating and sustaining the consistency, safety, security, and trust that children need in the classroom. That children learn about emotion and how to interact pro-socially from the key people in their lives, including their teachers and peers. That teachers, especially those in early childhood, already know the importance of SEL. What they need are more supports for their own skills and practices. We've found that the emotion vocabulary teachers use and how they value and talk about emotions are especially ripe for change. Last, SEL programming often places too much emphasis on curriculum materials themselves and not enough on teachers' use of those materials. The value comes not from the book itself, but from the way that book is read and how that teacher uses that book as a tool for SEL. The good news is that what we've been learning is being incorporated into Ruler and other approaches to SEL to better promote teacher and child outcomes. Importantly, though, effective and impactful SEL just doesn't happen on its own. It requires educators who are reflective and responsive to their own needs. Teachers' emotions matter just as much as children's. Yes, teachers feel immense joy and love, but also anger and sadness. They experience stress and trauma too. Teachers spend so much time helping others that they often forget to put on their own oxygen mask. Recognizing what educators are feeling and how to support their feelings is essential SEL. Little things, such as breathing, have been shown to matter tremendously. The way educators breathe impacts the way they feel. Quick, fast breathing leads to anxiety, whereas slow, deep breathing promotes calm. Second, effective and impactful SEL requires educators who are supported and comfortable with their own feelings as tools for SEL. The emotions that educators experience and express influences what children learn and come to believe about emotion. We sometimes forget how important we are in children's learning. Modeling in the early years is an especially powerful SEL tool. If we want children to talk more about emotion, teachers must be comfortable talking about emotion. And if we want children to value their emotions and the emotions of others, teachers must also value emotion. Being angry becomes a tool for SEL when it is labeled with a discussion of what happened and how to shift or use that anger. Third, effective and impactful SEL requires educators who are intentional about SEL in the same way they are about reading or math. Just as teachers align learning experiences with children's pre-literacy or pre-math skills, so too can teachers use an organized scope and sequence for children's SEL. When reading a storybook, yes, talk about that character's feelings, but we need to better train teachers to ask, well, with respect to children's SEL, what do we want children to know or be able to do? How can this story and extension activities be used as tools to scaffold children's SEL? What can children's behavior teach me about their social and emotional learning? Finally, equity is what makes SEL effective and impactful. Intentionally creating an inclusive and equitable classroom empowers young children to share their emotions safely and openly. And when children are supported in emotional perspective taking with those from different backgrounds in their own, they are more likely to experience empathy. We must value, be responsive to, and celebrate various cultures. Our classrooms need to be safe and supportive of all teachers, supporting them in understanding, communicating, and connecting across cultural, linguistic, racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Training in reflective practices and peer supports helps both the adult and the child. Effective and impactful SEL just doesn't happen. Boosting SEL in the early years requires an investment in our early childhood workforce to support them in being reflective and responsive to themselves and providing equity to all teachers, children, and families. Support so they are comfortable with their emotions and intentional in their use of SEL tools.